Hey you there, remember how excited you were when you were accepted into college? Remember how excited your family, friends, and the relatives were? The excitement you felt at the thought of the freedom you've had in college? However, after the first euphoria phase, sometimes college can start to seem like a scene from a horror movie. Sorority wars, Sydney White. You start to feel nervous and worry about making new friends, all the new experiences you are going to have, and you will miss your friends and family back home. Take a deep breath. Studying abroad is likely to lead to homesickness and culture shock, but it has its good part too. Here we have outlined some of the most common problems international students face and how to overcome them. First problem is the language barriers. Presentations, class discussions, and essays are typical examples of academic demands that may become highly stressful when performed outside the comfort zone of one's native language. Avoiding language intense classes and skipping reading assignments are common reactions among international students struggling with language barriers. These, in return, can also prevent them from forming relations with natives or finding good jobs, especially if a study program does not require speaking the host country's native language. Don't be shy or embarrassed. You may feel like you have language skills of a local 5-year-old, but your speaking won't improve without trying. I often fall into the trap of letting my more fluent friends speak for me. Don't let this happen to you. Speak up and have thick skin because you won't always be understood. And that's alright. After those first successful interactions, your confidence will skyrocket and you will be comfortably speaking in no time. Practice, practice, practice. The best way is to make local friends. This will help you develop everyday conversational skills that eventually lead to fluency. When you are alone, review class notes, watch movies in the local language, and play around on language learning apps. I recently downloaded the app Duolingo to keep my basic vocabulary fresh. It's a fun and easy way to cross-check your skill set when you have downtime. And be able to laugh at yourself. Language barriers can be funny. For example, my host family took me to the beach one weekend and asked me to compare their beaches to mine back home. I was trying to explain that their beach had a more potent sea smell, but the best I could do was say, "There's a fish in my nose." They did not ask a lot of questions after that. You just have to laugh. Put on that accent, honey. Accents are undoubtedly the most difficult aspect of learning a new language. I could not for the life of me explain to my French friend the difference between cheap and sheep, and why her pronunciation of the word beach is very important. Accents can be tough because you don't want to feel like you are overdoing it or mocking the language. Just listen to the locals and give it your best shot. Don't be a perfectionist. The one thing that will hold you back from learning more than anything is perfectionism. Speak to locals, even if you aren't 100% sure you are using the right words. Ask friends to correct you as many times as it can takes for it to sink in. You will make new mistakes, so take risks and don't be afraid to be wrong. When you are learning a new language, the worst thing you can do is to take yourself too seriously. Be encouraged by the fact that when you are studying abroad in a global city, many people you come across will likely have some experience learning another language too, and they will know what it is like and sympathize. Just explain at the beginning of the conversation that you are learning and ask for help along the way. The second problem is the culture shock. The first thing that usually causes stress to international students is a culture shock. When you have spent your entire life in one country, lived a certain way, and gotten used to a particular everyday life, change can be pretty difficult. The biggest issue is that most of the changes all come in a matter of hours. The scenery is different, the new city moves at a different pace, and everything is unfamiliar. No matter how much a person was looking forward to expanding their knowledge by studying abroad, such a big change can be overwhelming. If you don't have the ability to travel to that country before you have to live there, the best thing you can do is prepare yourself as much as possible for this day. Watch videos, read articles, and educate yourself about the special culture you will experience. While you won't be able to find out everything about your new home online, you will manage to have a pretty good idea about it, and you will be more prepared for the culture and you will find after you spend a few days in a new country. Look for ways to connect with your culture. Depending on the type of city you are living at, you will be able to find local shops, restaurants, or groups from your fellow countrymen or women. Ethnic food is quite popular, so the likelihood of you finding a place serving your favorite dish is quite strong. If you are able to find a spot, get to know the people who work or frequent the place, and you will never know what kinds of friends you can make. As a foreigner, the feeling of finding a person from your home country and sharing your different experiences is quite satisfying. Apart from shops and restaurants, groups or meetups can be a good way to meet someone like you. Again, the size of your city can vary your mileage here, but if there are a decent number of immigrants, you may find social groups specific to your culture. On top of that, check your school's list of clubs and organizations. Though they may not have a group from your country, general international clubs can do the job. You will find likely students who may also dealing with homesickness, so camaraderie can be a way to cope with it. The goal is to keep the memory of your hometown alive by taking pride in your background. Even so, you must not let your nostalgia for good old memories keep you from enjoying the present. The time and the place you live now can contain new, better memories. The next biggest problem is homesickness. Enjoy your new home. Regardless of how long you are staying in your new city, you should take the time to explore the area. Many colleges have partnerships with local transportation services and can offer their students a more free or discounted way to get around the city. If you are part of that lucky group, grab the bus pass and take some time to get to know the full coordinates of your new adoptive home. And stay busy. Closely related to exploring the city, keeping yourself busy will undoubtedly make it hard for your heart and mind to focus on what and who you left back home. If working is your thing, get a job on campus. Not only will fill up your schedule, but you can also make some money for your leisure piggy bank. Maybe even for a round trip fare to visit your friends and family. You can also volunteer or attend local events to make some local friends along the way. Expand your social circle with a mix of international and domestic students. Phone home, Skype, FaceTime, or Snap. Whichever way you are used to communicating nowadays, phoning home to elevate your feeling of homesickness is a bit obvious but always worthy of a reminder. School life can get a bit crazy, either socially or academically. Still, nobody is busy the full 24 hours a day, so take the time to set up a quick break for you to catch up with friends or family back home. If you are able, make it a regular part of your routine or schedule so that every time Saturday evening arrives, you know it's time for your date with home. Since international students are admitted to international programs because of their academic success at home, they and their parents turn to expect a lot. If parents have invested time and money in the education of their children, and if that investment was tied to the idea that they would support their families upon return, their expectations may turn into pressure and a burden. Underperforming students may be afraid of disappointing their parents and losing their support. They may feel ashamed and even personally threatened by the prospect of having no return home prematurely. So, what can you do? Remember, you are only human and cannot be expected to do everything right. So, don't hold on yourself to ridiculous standards, whether these are imposed by your family or yourself. You learn what a healthy amount of pressure is and what is causing you to stress out so much you are disadvantaging yourself. You work hard and make your parents proud, no matter what you expected and what it's like compared to that fantasy. You accept it for what it is and fall in love with this version of things even more than the one you had in your head. The last issue is the financial issues. Many students who study abroad do so thanks to scholarships. While being able to expand your horizons and gain so much knowledge is an amazing thing, it isn't always financially easy for everyone. Some countries can simply be more expensive to live in than others, and these are students who struggle to make ends meet. It's not uncommon for international students to try and land a job on top of their studies. Finding a balance between working and studying can be stressful, and not only can it leave the student feeling exhausted mentally and physically, it can also make them less social than they typically are. Also, many universities offer financial aid programs which could alleviate financial burden as well. Along with that, you can also find a freelance or part-time on-campus job. In addition, for dealing with all kinds of stress, we have two little tips. The first tip is to treat yourself. Chocolate, ice cream, anything that is sweet will delight you. And also, clean yourself. Take a warm bath and relax yourself from the stressful environment.